organizational meeting.
Oh, I forgot. That's
She
right.
does two agendas because there's so much.
That's right.
Brandon, I didn't make sure any water was
I'll get it later things.
Okay. Thank you. Finally got it.
Is it? Everyone?
Okay, I'd like to call to order the organizational meeting for the Board of Trustees for January 7th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Ms. Stadler?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Kraft?
Present.
Let's all rise for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess we have an agenda here, but there's 2 executive sessions on the agenda, but I'm not sure that we need either one of those. Is there any reason either of you feel the need for the executive sessions?
No, but I would suggest that we bump our public safety officer up right away so that he can address the board and get back to his duties.
Okay, he's not on the organization portion of this.
Can we add it?
Modify this to, yes, I think so. Okay, I'd like to move that with the modifications adding the public safety officer to this portion of the meeting.
I have a second question.
Okay.
I don't see on here where we're, unless I'm missing it, are we going through the process of assigning, in the past we had our boards, whether it's JED board or executive board, where is that? Am I missing it?
I had a note written on mine that
Oh,
to add committee assignments after item 5B.
Committee assignments after item 5B? Okay.
Any other modifications? If not, I move that we approve the agenda with those modifications.
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Stadler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, we'll take the PSO officer's report at this time. Introduce yourself.
I'm Deputy Reinhold in the Union County Sheriff's Office, Jerome PSO. I don't have necessarily any updates. Roads are looking a lot better than they were yesterday and the day before, so that's a good sign. Today's definitely been a lot less busy than it was over the past couple of days. Any questions for me or concerns?
Any crash incidents related to snow?
We've had a number of slide-offs. A lot of people slide off into the ditches, more so in Mill Creek Township than Jerome, but there was definitely a few here in Jerome Township. But that's to be expected with the first snow.
Any concerns about the conditions of any of the township roads that the officers have noted? I haven't heard any complaints at all.
Our road department will be back in around 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Start up again.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, nobody else has any questions? We thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Be safe out there. Thanks. Thanks for service. Okay, next on our agenda is the election of officers for the year 2025. First position is for chairperson. I'd like to move that Joe Kraft be nominated for chair for 2025.
I'd like to second that.
It's my turn, By the way, right? Like,
Yes, and I think you'll be a great chairperson. And I'd like to add that Barry did a great job.
I've been there before. Yes, Barry, good job. Everything you promised, kept the meetings under control, kept them under time, it's as short as possible. Yeah.
And we're hoping for the same from you,
Yeah.
Joe. Appreciate it.
A lot of pressure here, a lot of pressure. But, and I do get to sit by Robert, so we're gonna have to trade chairs here.
I don't know if we'll do that tonight, next meeting.
Mr. Edward?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Well, you
Vice
were just chairperson, so
I'm going to be vice chair.
would I take this over now?
I think I'm still in charge of the whole meeting, and because of the next regular meeting.
I can't remember what I've done in the
I
past.
think he finishes out the organizational,
I
right?
finished the
And then-
organization.
Okay, sure.
We've done it.
I think
Multiple.
it's a pretty friendly board, it's not like. Okay.
The next item then is the vice chairperson. Joe, have you got any?
I think it should be Wesleyan. You were just chairperson. They just fill in when the chairperson's not here.
Right.
I move Wesleyan Davis as vice chairperson. Oops, almost said chairperson.
Thank you.
Mr. Edward?
A roll call, yes?
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to move on to committee assignments.
Just
Or establishing meeting dates, I'm sorry. We've traditionally done the first and third Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. And I think part of the reason for that is to include our fiscal officer who works a daytime job. Are there any changes that anybody would like to make in that?
Is the time okay with everybody? Like
It's
7
for-
p.m.?
Well, for me,
Works well for me also.
how about you, Joe?
Yep.
Okay. And then
So you'd like to move
I'd
that
like to
we
move that
have-
we're going to meet on the first and third Tuesday of every month, with the exception if there's a holiday or a date for an election using this facility, we would modify that to the next available date. Have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Edward?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, next, we're going to go to committee assignments, and you'll find in your folder a spreadsheet for what we've done in the year 2024, and then we need to decide who's going to do what in 2025.
Okay.
And we've got website, is Joe. Something you want to continue to do, or have somebody else take over?
Do we really need a trustee for that at this point in time? I feel like you have that under control.
We do the best we can in our office, and I think the way it's been working is the three trustees know that if they want something, posted or whatever, we just do it. So I don't know that it's necessary. You can. It's up to you guys.
That was, if I can interject, that chief, but that was done when Mrs. Sloat was working closely with the staff to update it.
Yeah.
Update the website in a almost staff level type
Yep.
position. But I know that Michelle will post anything to news that's relevant just by simple web. And we've updated some procedures to do some things automatically.
Well, I'm in favor of deleting that from the list.
Say that again?
I'm in favor of deleting that from the list. I
Okay.
don't know that we need to vote on each line item. I think
No, I agree.
just
with
write
you.
down the changes, and at the end, just say that we approve these changes. Okay. Trails and Greenways Committee, Brandon and I have been participating in that.
Gary, I think that you are great for this, and I think that you should stay. Would you be okay with that?
I'm okay with that. Brandon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Tax Incentives Review Committee, Brandon and I have also been participating as the representatives in that. If anybody wants to change that?
Barry, did you do 2 years in a row with that? I believe you did.
Yes, but I think that's the one of the two, the CIC or TIC, I'm already elected for this following year.
Is that the CIC?
Well, that's
I
different.
think it is
Yeah.
the CIC.
Mr.
I don't
Chair,
think there's, yeah.
Mr. Adler, other members of the board, and Mr. Stanley, Mr. Colwell, if I can make one suggestion, just remind the board that the incentive review is actually for TIFs, and my understanding is that the cooperative board is also primarily for TIFs, and they're not exclusively. Chief, is there some value
But
in
it's not TIFs, isn't it? It's tax abatements.
It's tax paid.
Oh,
Yeah.
abatement, so
Yeah.
the incentive board is?
Yes.
Those are discussed within the cooperative board, Union County, Jerome Township Cooperative Board as well.
Yes, but the tax incentive review board is for the whole county.
Got it, understood. I withdraw my
Township.
comment. I apologize for the
No,
interruption.
yeah, great point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the CIC is the one I still need to be on, and I'm going to see that on the list here.
Joe, would you be willing to do the tax incentive review committee?
And that's
Did-
usually
you
a
didn't have
weekday meeting. It's usually at 8 a.m. I think it's a Tuesday, second Tuesday of the month. I can't recall the exact time.
When they
It's every
review
other
all
month.
the tax payments?
And if you don't think you have the time,
I can-
continue. We wanna get
Yeah,
involved in
if
that.
you want to keep doing that, that's fine. I like the corridor, the 33 corridor.
Okay.
You'd like to keep
I like the
30
IPA. Well, of course, I don't remember the IPA. I could go there just as a member anyway, not necessarily an assigned person to go.
Okay, so Barry, you want
Okay.
to stay on
I'll
the
stay on
tax
the
incentive review?
TIRC 911 committees, next, Wesleyan, is that?
That's fine, that's not, there's not much that goes on with that.
Route 33, you want to just say Joe and Brandon then, and drop me, or?
Hold on, yeah, Route 30, so 33 corridor, Joe and Brandon.
IPA, so you're saying you want to do that one now too?
Joe, yeah, I think that would be good.
Well, you could be the township designation, and then if I can get loose, I could go to that as a member of the chamber.
So you want to keep me as,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Brandon as the township
Yeah.
rep? Okay,
I think it's pretty enjoyable. It's a treat to be on that one, very.
and that's convenient. for me.
If you can't beat
Yeah,
that, right?
that's right,
That-
breakfast.
And I guess similarly, that would be, business impact breakfast, we're all invited to that, so.
Right.
Jonathan Alder School District, Dublin's City Schools, and Fairbanks, do we want to rotate that around? We have done that in the past.
How do you feel?
I'm fine keeping it the way that it is. I feel like there wasn't that much interaction this past year, so maybe we should just
Okay,
Okay
how
with
do you
that?
feel? Yeah.
keep
yeah.
it.
We will keep those assignments as is.
Okay.
Transportation Improvement District, I'm signed up, but they have not had a meeting.
Well, why don't we keep you there then?
Okay. Union County Housing Authority, Joe
Yeah.
and Eric.
Yeah, I'd like that, unless someone else wanted to do that.
Okay.
Joint Economic Development District Board, I think Wesleyan has had that one in the past.
I have, I'm happy to stay, but if not, I was going to say, Joe Kraft did so much with the JED in the beginning and didn't get to be in the room when it was finally signed after so many years of his work. I almost feel that it's only right to have Joe sit on this board now that it's signed and there's money in the bank account.
It's exciting that there's money that, just
Yes.
aside from a representative from the township for that, it's exciting that the few businesses that are in that we're generating some income that's going to be put to infrastructure.
Would you take that seat? 2025?
Very,
Joe,
Where
she's
you-
asking you if you want to take that seat.
I would,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Representative of the LUC, RPC, I don't think anybody.
I think
but
that's Eric
is-
Snowden.
Let me throw one comment about this. I go to all the meetings for the purposes of zoning amendments. However, a representative of the township needs to be able to attend a annual meeting that Brad has in November. And every single year, I'm not able to attend because I am playing Christmas carols and ringing the bell in front of Kroger's. So if the board would consider appointing somebody else to go to that one annual meeting, that's the only real commitment. It could be Brandon, it could be one of the board, but that's the only reason why I'm bringing it forward. I'm still going to go to the meeting. So,
Is it
but
an all-day meeting or?
No, it's an evening, no sir. It is an evening dinner. It's basically a dinner. But at the end of that dinner is a business meeting, and that is the official LUC full commission meeting. That meets once a year. Every other meeting that I go to at LUC is technically an LUC executive committee meeting. So just need somebody to do that because we're not, as the township, kind of fulfilling our job.
And this is in November?
It's in November. It's usually the first, or it's like the first Thursday in November, usually at a restaurant in Union County or in a three-county area. Yeah.
I heard about it from Brad that we didn't attend this.
Correct. So
Barry, do you want to?
I could. Maybe you want to do that.
if too many townships don't attend, then Brad doesn't have quorum and some business can't get done. So
Now, would they need somebody representing it each? They have a monthly meeting also?
yeah, the monthly meeting is technically a meeting of the executive committee. That's structured a little bit differently, and I attend those meetings.
But they don't have township?
They do have a township representative. It's appointed from amongst the commission, but as a general rule, that township representative from each of the three townships is never Jerome Township, and the reason for that is Jerome Township has so many amendments that person would have some challenges.
Recuse himself?
It's correct. It's normally a representative from the township, county township association that is also a committee member. Sorry, it's a complicated structure here, but no, that person would not need to attend the monthly meeting unless they wanted to, but they would need to attend the one annual meeting in November.
Okay, next on the list is Jerome Township Union County Cooperative Board. I know Wesley's been doing that. I'm got an interest in trying to do that in this coming year. That's okay with you, Wesley?
How many meetings?
We've only had one, and we were able to establish some bylaws that are under review, just getting started. We had a great meeting, our last meeting. I would like to continue because I feel like we're just starting. You know, I didn't get to have a full chairmanship. I'm sorry, I was the chair, but we only were able to do one meeting last year, in the last
Who's the
quarter
chair
of the year.
next year?
It's the county. So.
Oh, we take turns
Yeah.
and we got the first.
Yes.
You guys want to rustle off?
I feel like I have a working relationship with Bill and Tom both over the past year, trying to get this all set up and moving.
Whoever's on that board, if something really big came up, we'd want you to, if you weren't sure. Brandon also serves, he's on the board, so the two representatives from the township would be a trustee and the administrator.
That's the way we had it set up.
And I'll be so glad to get that chair closer to Robert and not be right here in the middle all the time. So putting the heat on me. It's tough too, knowing this could be like, one of your last opportunities maybe to serve on that board, depending on what you decide to do in the future. I feel strongly that Weslyn needs to finish the work that she started. She took quite a bit of heat to get into where we're at with it. And I mean, it's great both of you are interested in serving on the cooperative board. Of course, we'll lose our chairmanship for 2025. You can always work it behind the scenes too. Also,
I just feel like I have a better cooperative position.
for the cooperative
Well,
board.
to be
yeah.
fair, Bill Narducci isn't on you mentioned your relationship with Bill, but he doesn't sit.
Who would be the Union County representative this next year? Is that
It's
McCarthy,
it's
Commissioner
my-
McCarthy?
Yes, and it's my understanding, based on conversations that we had, that it's not Bill. So I think that I have a great, working relationship with the commissioners at this point. Was in the room during mediation that brought forward what we all signed collaboratively. And
Which all along through that, you were keeping us informed as to
oh, absolutely,
the
yes.
progress
There's no
or
decision making.
setbacks on that.
Yeah, there's no decision making without coming back to executive session.
Well, I feel like I've had a great relationship with Tom McCarthy, the new guy, and he's gonna be the chair coming in.
Oh, yeah, no, Tom has
Tom's
been
been great.
Tom has
Tom's
been
been
great.
great,
I
and he's
spoke
keeping
to
us
Tom
informed
today.
and, yeah.
Yeah, he's a wonderful new addition to the commissioners. I've been very pleased with how communicative he is, and it's been just really wonderful to get to know Tom.
I feel that Wesley's done a good job in negotiating and getting things to this point. I feel like moving forward, I might be a little bit more cooperative in getting things done with the county, based on my relationship with them in the past.
I don't know, our meeting went tremendously well, didn't it, Brandon? It was, we agreed on bylaws, we were able to, they've not been adopted, but we hammered it out, and again,
The framework.
the
for how
framework,
the-
and again, it was supposed to be our year, but we only had one meeting.
I think I'd feel differently if you'd had half a year at it or
Sure,
so.
thank you.
Um,
And this year, we, in our last meeting, we assigned, I believe it was quarterly dates. So that would allow me to fulfill an actual term.
They're going to be a meeting every quarter, is that how we, okay. But not necessarily like a monthly meeting now?
Not a
the
monthly meeting.
Framework's been set. So we're talking about 4 meetings.
Wasn't that the case?
I believe the next meeting is January 15th.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with
Split the
those.
assignment, 2 meetings for each of us.
I think that gets a little messy, I think. Then you're trying to catch up between what happened in the last one and, I don't know if that's the best idea.
And the Union County representatives would be the same
Yeah.
for the year.
I think that gets a
Okay.
little messy.
Okay. I'm going to go with Wesleyan on this one, Barry. Sorry.
Second? Or this is not a
We're not
vote?
voting each one. Morpsey, in the past, Brandon has had the assignment. I worked with Morpsey the previous year, and Brandon came in, he kind of took that over. I don't know if we need to have a dual
Yeah.
assignment of trustee and a township administrator. We're starting to work closer with them now. It's planning things.
They had some really good meetings. I mean, did you go, there's like an all-day luncheon thing I think
Yeah,
you
I
put
went
on?
there with Brandon, so.
Yeah, that's really,
My advice would be to try to assign a trustee, just because there's been, as Barry will tell you, there's been a couple times where I cannot go.
Mhm.
There's another conflict and I think it's important that our board is represented, not just me. I think it's very good to have one of you there.
Barry, are you,
I'm willing to
Okay.
continue with that.
how are you
Barry.
on that list?
On Morpsey, yes, Barry.
That's a-
I think Barry.
Good thing. Yeah. And even if, like, say you and Brandon couldn't be there, I think it'd be important, somebody from the township be able to go. Just mention that to you, Barry.
Brandon and I are going from penalty here, but I think the experience says that you can appoint to one and basically an alternate. So putting two down is consistent with Morpsey's structure. That's not going to upset. that.
I think that's correct.
So then is Brandon the representative on the alternate?
The two trustees, or how do you?
I don't know that it matters.
It doesn't matter. My
Okay,
suggestion
yeah.
would be one trustee and one alternate, or one trustee and Brandon. It sounded like what you were doing.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got EDIP, the Economic Development Incentive Policy.
No, we are not a part of that right now.
No, we're not, but we need to have a representative in negotiating the new EDIP that Eric Phillips has been working on.
I would very much like to be a part of that.
Is the council of governments different than that?
Yeah.
So in the past, we'd been invited to the council of governments, but we turned it down a while back, a couple times. But I don't think that would be a bad idea if we could talk to them about if that's appropriate, or,
I think the CIC has been involved with the EDIP in the past. And they brought it up at the CIC meeting, so I don't know if that's different from the council of governments.
yeah, because the CICs isn't on here.
Well,
I think the
it's
CIC is
actually-
different. I think the council of governments has Dublin, Marysville, Union County, and then we were invited, but we had said no.
I think the EDIP, though, is in itself a different thing altogether, because although the Council of Governments has its purpose and so does the CIC, the EDIP reflects the tax incentive policy adopted by the county that each entity individually signs on to, and currently we separated from that, and it took effect in May of this year. And so we are not signed back on, and I think that we need to be very diligent about making sure that it's my understanding this is separate from Council of Governments and CIC, correct?
Yeah, the EDIP's a policy.
It's a policy adopted by the Chamber of Commerce, I believe.
What Eric and I were just talking about is whether or not it's an actual, are we?
It's not a
I'm
committee.
not sure it's a committee.
It's not a committee.
It's not a committee.
It would be
It's a document,
us participating in something, but it's not a committee.
which is not something we would participate in without a majority vote of this board. But there is, and if we all remember, there was an email from Eric Phillips explaining that the consultants were coming forward
Yes.
to show us the updated EDIP. However, I think because Jerome Township is the highest revenue producing outside of Marysville, entity in the county, that I find that it would be very important for us to have our own meeting with these consultants as a board. I sent an email out about that. Do I have some support on this request?
Yeah, if we can get,
Okay.
we'd have to have a special meeting to have our three trustees.
I don't necessarily think we need to appoint someone individually to this because it's not a committee.
I think Barry's suggesting if we're gonna have the consultants come in, we could even have a special meeting so we could all be there.
Yes.
Or figure out a way to add it on a light meeting if we knew we had a light meeting.
I
And then
agree.
at some point, we would have to appoint a representative if we decide to get,
If we decide to go forward.
decide to be part of the EDIP.
No, you would have
No.
to adopt you would have to adopt the EDIP policy. So you would either adopt the new county EDIP, or you would adopt the Jerome Township segment of the county EDIP. So what I'm hearing is you're saying, we gotta have somebody negotiate. If that's the case, that person's probably Brandon. He's gonna report back to you on what's being
So,
negotiated.
yes.
But it's a
and
policy document.
So we have the ability to say, okay, we understand your EDIP, we'd like to be a part of it, but pertaining to Jerome Township, we don't agree with these things, and we want to have our own clause or segment out, and we can negotiate our area beyond outside of the other townships that have signed on or school districts that have signed on. And I think that we need to have that flexibility, and that's when an appointed representative for the EDIP would come into place. But we're not even there yet because we need this presentation.
Right. And I think part of the presentation, they're trying to include variances for the different places like Jerome Township, City of Marysville, people that have objected to an overall umbrella EDIP. So that may be sections of a new policy. So we have to wait and hear what they're proposing first.
Right.
So,
So right now, we
so
can
we
just
don't need
table
a
that.
person assigned to that at this point.
We
Um,
just need that meeting in the future.
okay.
Brandon, will you make sure that we get one?
Yeah.
Please consult, okay, thank you.
CIC, I believe I got appointed to a 2-year assignment this last year, and I'm willing to continue unless somebody else would like to do that. You okay with that, Joe? Having me assigned as the CIC representative from the township.
Oh, yeah, it's not on our list, we're doing
Yeah,
that.
it's not on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. And Council of Governments is also not on the list.
We're not a part of the Council of Governments,
No.
and when I inquired with Terry Emery, he said that Jerome Township would have to have a $250,000 buy-in commitment to have a seat on the board. So that is not something that we would be willing to do. Because at the end of the day, Jerome Township is already producing the commercial tax revenue for infrastructure. I don't see why we would take those dollars from our township and allocate it to something that just comes back to our township when we already have those funds dedicated to our township. It didn't really make sense to me to be a
Yeah.
part of it financially, with that financial commitment.
Yeah, I mean, it just as from a mechanical standpoint, the COG, which is like a legal entity, would have to be amended and stuff like that.
Sure.
We're not a party to that. Doesn't mean Brandon can't go to your meeting or call them and talk about it, but it sounds like we're not.
I don't think it's necessary for us, and a lot of it had to do with fiber, it's my understanding. So, you know, they're gonna run fiber through Jerome Township regardless. You know, we know this. Did we finalize the CIC?
I thought.
Joe.
Okay.
I'm okay if Barry wants to continue to
Okay.
represent the township.
Okay.
It's a good meeting.
Okay. So Council of Governments, not, we're just gonna
Yeah,
move on to that.
Scratching it out. Is there anything else that anyone can think of that we missed on this list, Brandon or Eric? Or Robert?
Okay.
I went back through my calendar, just looking at meetings and stuff, and that's how Debbie and I came up with a couple of these that weren't on there originally. But I couldn't find anything else that stood out to me.
Okay,
So should we adopt that? Okay.
yeah.
I move that we accept the appointments that we just went through for the 2025 year.
Second?
Roll call?
Ms. Stryker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Pratt?
Yes.
Okay, trustees and fiscal officer compensation is next. I think there's somewhere a motion, resolution in the back. Or not?
Somebody tell me. No, not really.
I'll do it.
Essentially, it's,
I'd like to move that the trustees and fiscal officers be compensated
not
as
to,
listed in the Ohio Revised Code.
not to exceed the maximum amount as set forth in the Ohio Revised Code, sections 505.24 and 507.09.
Thank you, Robert.
Second?
So moved. Roll call?
Ms. Stradler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Next on our list is trustees and fiscal officer attendance to conferences and training and reimburse expenses for the year 2025. I don't know that we have any specific conferences.
The,
so we have to have a general
The
umbrella.
Ohio Township Association Conference usually is in January, February, and I think usually that's what we move to cover those.
Is
those
anybody
expenses.
registered to do that?
There's been times where we've done economic development conferences.
Right.
which I
This is
think
a
are-
generic, covers everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
Do you have a wording for a generic cover? for this?
Yeah, it's just approve attendance of the trustees, fiscal officer, and approved employees to conferences and training, and reimburse expenses as necessary.
so moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
And next is establishing a legal level of budgetary control.
The resolution is to establish the Board of Trustees' legal level of budgetary control. That's the level at which the township's fiscal officer may not reallocate appropriations without the approval of the Board of Trustees, shall be set at the fund level. Fiscal officer shall have the authority to reallocate appropriations at the line item level within a fund, except for salaries and wages. Board also establishes a threshold amount for blanket certificates of $5,000.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Item F, I move to authorize the fiscal officer and trustees to be check signers for the township.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Item G is I'd like to move to authorize the use of electronic funds transfer by the fiscal officer.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I've been advised by our fiscal officer to insert prior to the item H a motion to, I move to include a 5% increase for non-union, non-contract staff for the year 2025. This is an item we had
We didn't do
discussed
that.
during an executive session.
Oh, second.
We had done the motion.
No, we never
We
did a
didn't, we
motion.
didn't, no action.
No, we didn't.
This is the motion to do that action prior to approving the budget. Do I have a second?
There was a second by Mrs. Davis.
Was it? I didn't hear. Second?
I did, but I do have a question. This
Okay,
is,
discussion.
yeah, is this a, this is exactly pertaining to the discussion that is for only,
Full-time,
Full-time,
non-union,
non-union.
non-contractors. So,
non-contract?
so it does not apply to anybody who has their own contract.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Any further discussion, Joe?
No.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Item H is our year 2025 budget. Mr. Caldwell, would you like to present that?
I had sent to you an updated permanent appropriations resolution for 2025. There were some various line item changes, most of which were in the insurance area, but overall, our original temporary was $16,660,590. The permanent is $16,657,000, $57,538. So $3,000 less, a very minimal amount.
So that was primarily insurance adjustments.
Yeah, insurance adjustments went up, but then there were some other miscellaneous items that decreased to match closer to what the 2024 actuals were to get us to that number.
And I know since you sent that out, there was a question that came out about a grant,
Yes.
having funds allocated for an ODNR grant, but that's pending approval of a contract with them, so we can make
Yes.
that modification in the future date.
Yes. That would be preferable at this point in time. We receive official, notification and the paperwork of the award and, final current estimate of what the actual cost will be.
Any other questions about the budget as proposed by the fiscal officer?
No, thank you, Robert.
It takes a lot of work to get
pretty-
it done, and I appreciate that. And I noticed your notation that the actual revenues numbers were not in, so.
Correct.
If the revenues should increase, we could increase the budgetary at a future date, or
Yes.
if they should be decreased significantly, we would have to come back and change the budget. Okay. So we have that ability to do that. Okay, I move that we have approved the budget as proposed by the fiscal officer for the year 2025.
Second?
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes. Just like to mention that I seem to recall approving a budget for 3.5, was it be 3.3 million maybe total, all in? Yeah. This is four times, yeah. Like,
And hopefully it will continue to grow as the township grows and our revenue increases. Appreciate your efforts at keeping things in line and keeping our expenses in line too. Okay, moving along, we've got fees for the fire department. Do we have a fee schedule? I don't recall seeing anything in the email.
Ms. Bollinger stated there were no requests for changes for fire, cemetery,
Correct.
And then the motion is to continue with the current fire department
You don't need to make
cemetery
any,
fees for
you don't need,
2025.
you don't need to make any motion. The fees just remain. You don't need to adopt.
Okay.
All right, then zoning, Mr. Snowden, would you like to explain the changes in the zoning fee schedule?
Thank you, Mr. Adler, and other members of the board. You should see a memo which I sent out, and Debbie placed a copy in your packet, just explaining the updates. In short, we have one fee that is being lowered by $100 to match up to another fee, so there's less confusion at the counter for folks doing projects that are sometimes accessory buildings and sometimes additions, depending on how they're configured. And second of all, I worked with Ms. Huber to revise our process for continuances. We're getting a large number of continuances for requests in front of the Zoning Commission and BZA. There was a fee previously for both bodies, but because of how that was structured, it was now not being collected. So I'm proposing that we collect that fee, revise the administrative procedures, document accordingly, and create a $150 fee for residential continuances in front of the BZA, because charging folks $350 for residential continuances when they're already in a process is just creating conflict. It's just too high for residential. So that's the purpose of this. It's really aligning with our current practice.
With the new language specified that the continuance is upon the request of the applicant, not based on the commission on the contingency.
The way that Ms. Huber and I wrote it, we had that exactly in mind, Mr. Adler, and the purpose was when a request is granted. If the zoning commission needs to continue because LUC's comments aren't back, that doesn't apply.
Okay.
That doesn't apply. But it's because we've got a number of folks that are requesting, and they're running up a large number of hearings, taking up staff time, we gotta pay the BZA, all these things, and we just wanna have a reasonable fee. On the other hand, the residential, $350, I think, was just way too high.
I
So
appreciate
splitting
that.
out.
That's
And could you
Great.
explain why it wasn't collected, or how you revised this to make it collectible?
Exactly, I'd be happy to do that. The way that when this fee schedule was adopted, it said that, you can see it says like 2 meetings included. So you had to be continued twice before the fee was was collected. And so now people are already, 2-3 meetings deep. They're angry. They don't want to be in front of the BZA or zoning commission. And so, me having to then go collect a fee at that point is just how much of an argument do I want to have today? The other thing is we were inconsistent in our terminology. It doesn't quite show up in the document because of the way the redlining works, but sometimes we were using the term tabling, sometimes we were using the term continuance. Those are really 2 different things that are functionally equivalent, so Ms. Huber and I wrote it so it would be consistent. So that's why, I'm not saying we've never collected that fee, we probably have at some point, but because it was so, people were already 2 meetings in and, confusion was
You said
happening.
that I didn't continue a table.
It was just becoming a game,
Right.
so we just need to be consistent with the terminology, and then again, for residential, have a reasonable amount.
Sure.
So now the continuance starts at the first continuance, rather than.
Correct. And that's typical of most communities. I don't know where this 2 meetings thing came from. It was probably copied from another township. That's a typical thing, with the point being that, it's generating a cost to the public. If the fee is not collected, then the cost is being socialized out to everybody, all the applicants.
And if the applicant fails to pay the fee, is their application denied at that point?
I have to talk to Ms. Huber to clarify. I believe it wouldn't be denied, it would just not appear on the agenda.
Until they pay the fee.
Correct. And that's also how LUC does it, so I'm sort of mimicking LUC's
Okay,
practice.
that sounds good to me. Any other questions?
Mr. Adler, there are 2 motions there, one for the schedule and one for the administrative procedures. Did you get a copy of that? Okay. Bless you.
Which do we do first? I guess I'm,
Could you do the fee schedule first?
schedule first?
Yes, sir.
Zoning fees?
Yes, please.
I'd like to move to adopt the schedule of zoning fees as revised, and says schedule will be effective immediately. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I'd like to move to adopt a policy document entitled Schedule of Zoning Fees and Administrative Procedures as revised, to be effective immediately.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler?
Yes?
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate making all these adjustments to make things run so smoothly. Next is the rental hall.
No change.
No change?
No change.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on anything. Appointment of a cemetery sexton. That's been,
I'm seeing this memo. Do we have someone in the office that would like this position?
We just think it makes sense to have Vince do it,
Okay.
because he's involved in, from the time a person walks in to the time of, clear up through the entire thing, burials and everything. Instead of
Yeah, and then if something got
takes it
hairy,
off of the board.
yeah.
Do you want to give it an individual name or a position like the supervisor of the road division?
Yeah,
yeah, I think we're better off.
that's
doing it
right.
that way.
And then,
Because if the supervisor changes.
Well, right. Yeah, I would rather not give it a name. I would keep it with a job.
yeah, so I'd like to move that we appoint the supervisor of the road division as cemetery sexton.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
The next item is resolution employing special legal counsel. I'd like to see the resolution. Am I missing something?
I don't see it either.
Here is the original. Just want to.
Okay.
Really just the title,
Do we need to discuss it some? for the
Yes,
services? And do you have any recommendations?
$50,750. What we did last year. Essentially $50,000 from the zoning fund and $7,500 from the general fund.
I guess I'm making a motion to employ the township's attorneys on an annual basis for the year 2025, the amount stated by our fiscal officer, and appointing or selecting Peter and Griggs of Brochus, Johnson and Griggs LLC and the law firm of Brochus, Johnson and Griggs LLC for the calendar year 2025 as the township's legal counsel to represent the township and its officers, boards, and commissions in their official capacities and to advise them in connection with such matters as may be referred to said counsel by or on behalf of the board or its designee. And then there's some specifics as to the amounts on an hourly basis in this document. Should I submit this document as?
Second. Yeah, second.
Okay. Just a brief discussion I'd like to interject
Okay.
before we take a vote, is I would hope that as we move forward, that we, now that we've gone through a period of contention that's been somewhat resolved with the county, that we try to start utilizing the county prosecutor's office as a free service as much as possible, and that at some point we adopt a policy and procedures in order to minimize our use of outside legal counsel.
When appropriate, because there's sometimes that may not be
Yes.
appropriate.
I'd like to table this for further discussion in another meeting, developing a legal policy for the use of private outside legal counsel.
Pete, it wouldn't hurt Pete's feelings if he wasn't on speed dial, but it's been very helpful. Very helpful.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
In here, we have another motion, resolution for disposal of township property. I move that we declare the intent to conduct internet auctions for the sale of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit personal property, including motor vehicles, of Jerome Township for the calendar year 2025. Is that enough stated in there? Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 505.10D. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay. And we've already, we've already gone through the compensation item and appointment. These are the zoning commission members in the previous meeting. We don't need an executive session at this point. Motion to adjourn the organizational meeting.
Second.
I'll ask you, Knock.
Thank you, Barry, for your chairmanship.
Organizational meeting is
7:52.
adjourned at 7:52. We're going to take a
All right.
quick
I'm gonna
break
do a
before
little-
we start the regular meeting.
We'll do a little switcheroo here. Aren't you guys,
I'm sitting by Robert.
we're gonna get the gavel, go. Can we take a 2-minute break?
Barry already handed the gavel. Barry already handed the gavel over.
Sign these. So, do I sign these purchase order agreements now?
Yes, because they were from 2024.
Did the,
I don't have resolution numbers.
oh,
I'm going to do everything except that. Please get signatures on it.
If you don't mind, just because I would, and this is, did they sign this one?
Are we gonna discuss
Have a
this?
signature block
We've got the check signed.
to that one as well.
Should I sign that?
Yeah, that's fine. Someday, Brandon, we'll have
7.
two
Yep.
tall guys tripping over each other.
That's right.
Your signature right there.
So, are you desiring to switch the chairs around right now?
Yes, please.
And then
Then I can get out of the middle.
And then
It's so tense. You just don't understand, Barry.
No, I think it's what,
I understand.
it's negotiating, it's just like.
There's a missing line above that one, trustee. So
I'll be kind and generous like I am on the checks. I always sign down. Down one.
get your signature on this one.
That's on this one.
No, you don't.
One is a little stuck in the wrong
For
line.
the three at the same
Nope.
time.
There's one at the end there.
right here. Today's the 7th.
weekend.
on time. Okay.
I'd like to call the Jerome Township Board of Trustees January 7th, 2025 meeting. Order time is 8 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Adler? Present. Ms. Davis?
Present?
Mr. Kraft?
Present. We could all rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anyone have any modifications to the agenda?
Well, we can get rid of number 8.
All right.
Wait a second. Didn't we just appoint?
Resignation. Might be
Yeah, didn't we just, no kidding.
I'll update you when we get there.
Wow.
Mr. Stanley, with a couple items you were going to add under your administrative report that you wanted to put on the agenda.
Yeah, I'll just give it to them.
All right,
Okay, I move we approve the agenda as modified.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Fiscal officer report.
You have the minutes of the special meeting of December 17th and regular meeting of December 17th.
Everyone had time to review the,
Yeah, just the one misspelling wasn't changed with my last name. Under Board of
your
Trustee
last
action.
name was misspelled?
Yeah, Adler, not Aldrich.
That's been corrected on my master.
Okay. I wouldn't say correct.
Move that we approve the minutes.
Second,
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
And you have the warrants per your various pending warrant reports for the end of the year. And a few for the first of the year. There are warrants 45255 through 45304 and 94152 through 94165.
I move that we approve the warrants.
Second?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
I have a couple other little items. One is actually an amendment to the 2024 appropriations resolution to transfer $1,810 from contingency to salaries, admin, and the general fund. And that was to cover the bonuses that were given at the end of the year. And this is the one line item that we just approved in the organizational meeting that I need board approval for.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
And then the last thing is, I believe you received a copy electronically of the Union County Comprehensive Plan cost sharing invoice.
I saw an email about that.
So they're wanting a contribution from the township of $100 to support the Union County Comprehensive Plan.
I move that we support that.
Second.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
And that is all that I have.
Thank you, Robert. Public participation, we do not have anyone signed up. Administrators report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First thing is we're excited to announce that we, at the end of the year, 2024, we did get official notice that we were awarded $137,692 recreational trails program grant through the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. As you know, that took a ton of work in the office to get the application in, but then a lot of waiting. That was a lengthy
That's
process.
so
but-
fantastic.
Yeah, we're so excited. This is an 80-20 match, and when we applied, we were told that we would get our odds increased if we upped our contributions a little bit. So we ended up, I think it was a 26% is what it turned out to be, 26% contribution. But regardless, we're excited. We're waiting on now official documentation. Something in the state goes all the way to Washington. Washington reviews it, then they give permission to the state to release formal documents. So we're still waiting on that. So until all that happens, we really can't do anything for the formal process of getting it all rolling. But that's been a long time coming. That'll be a huge improvement out here to Harry Wolf Park. For those who might be listening or not familiar with what we're talking about, it'll build a asphalted walking path around the pond, and I think it's just over 2,000 feet in length, which will tie in back here in the woods, in the wood line from the Pulte development. We've been talking to them. They're going to bring their path on into the park for us, and it'll tie in well and tie into the area where the dock was just built.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah, this is going to be a big addition to the park, and I think it's going to be used just constantly. So couldn't be more excited about that. So second thing we had.
Good job on that.
Yes.
I'd
Good
like to
job.
comment and
Oh, thank you.
good
Good job.
job on getting it.
Thank you.
And all the follow-up,
Super.
I feel like this has been something that we've talked about for a really long time, and
know.
it's happening. So all the work put into it couldn't be more appreciated.
Thank you. It's going to be fun to watch people use it for sure. The other exciting thing that we have going on, of course, is the bid process for the road department building. We have received several requests from contractors, so we know the word got out. I think the deadline for all bids to be in is January 31st, and at that point, then we have to go through a review process, score the bids, and then we'll ultimately come back and report to you folks who we believe is the best choice to go with. So that is several weeks away yet, but just know that we are getting some attention that we had hoped for by contractors. Just a note for you, I know I've sent this out, but we are hosting MORPSI here, the Mid Ohio Regional Planning Commission, on January 22nd. This will be the Northwest area meeting. We were asked to host it. We agreed to do so. That's a luncheon meeting that starts at noon and it'll end roughly around 1:30. Just ahead of that, they asked if they could also come a little earlier, some of the admin team, to meet with us for their member visit. So we'll meet with them at 10 a.m. You can certainly come. I hope you come to at least one or both of those things. Feel free to join us there.
Just as a point of clarification, you said it's a luncheon meeting we're hosting. Are we expected to provide the lunch?
No.
That was not clear.
No, that's all brought in by them. And they'll be doing the presentation, so we'll be working with them to use the TV.
What day was that again?
January 22nd.
I saw the email, just one.
Yep. Staying on that same note, MORPSI, as you know, I had a Zoom call with one of their folks, a researcher here recently before the end of the year, talking to them about what they could offer us to help us with our parks and cemetery plan. They sent back a proposal that I think is reasonable. They gave us a not to exceed amount for them to do. Basically, it equates to 122 hours of work is what they think it would work out to be. The price tag on that was $12,584, and again, that's a not to exceed. I think they're anticipating it to be under $12,000, but I would ask the board to maybe discuss that now, or I can wait until next meeting if you want to think about it. But this is something that I think MORPSI is a great organization that has some resources. They deal with this stuff all the time. The gentleman I talked to on the phone was very, very educated about they do these for others. He did caution me a little bit that what they do in the final product would be something that we could take and use for most grants, but not all grants. He said some that are way more detailed type things may require a full-blown, where we have to then take the MORPC report, hand it off to another consultant, and then let them do the way deeper dive, which is going to be way more expensive, as we know. But I think if we can get a plan together that's reasonable and that our community can have input on, which that's included in this price as well, I think we should do it. But again, if you want to wait and bring this up at the next meeting, we can. But you know, for that amount of money, it seems reasonable. It's going to take them about, oh my goodness, I think 5-6 months from start to finish. They have a calendar that they gave me, and I can resend it if you didn't have time to review it.
I've reviewed what you sent, and I'm very pleased with what they're offering. For the amount of money, I think it would be an excellent opportunity for us. And if you'd like to take more time to discuss it, we'll think about it, but I think we should move forward with this if the other trustees are in agreement. And we're okay.
I agree, go ahead.
I'd like to move that we assign our township administrator to enter into contract negotiations with MORPC to do the proposed plan that they've offered to us for trails and parks.
Second?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Barry, did you mean not to exceed 12,000?
Well, I said the contract as proposed.
As proposed, okay,
Amount.
good. All right.
Last thing under my portion at least, I believe I sent this out earlier, either yesterday or today, I can't recall, but Debbie had received in the office a request from a local 4-H group. They've done this for years using the facility here. They gave us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 or 8 Sundays that they would like to use this, and they're asking for fees to be waived.
I think the past 15 years they've used it.
Yes, and they've used this as, the email says at least Debbie sent this to me, that they've used it for at least the last 15 plus years as a meeting place, and this 4-H group puts out the flags on veterans' graves for Memorial Day in return.
My only question was, have they used those many dates in the past every year? I didn't see that in the...
I do not have that in front of me, so I don't know the answer to that. I don't recall them using it that much
I don't recall
last
that
year. But again, I don't know if they're changing their purpose this year. I don't know, or what they want to use it for. I don't know. It's probably just a convenient meeting spot for them.
No other discussion is that if those dates are tied up, then we forego allowing anybody else to rent it at a fee. So, but I don't have a problem with that group using it.
What do you
Is that for
recommend?
the entire day, or is that just for certain hours?
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure, like,
It
someone had a
doesn't
party
stipulate.
or graduation or...
Yeah, and I can check with Debbie on that. I mean,
Why don't we do some additional research, because I know April, May timeframe to get into graduations.
Right.
Whether it's booked, so.
We want to be fair to all Jerome Township residents,
yeah.
but then if it was certain hours, but I think that gets tricky too, like when someone rents a hall and
It
someone has
does.
to be done by 3 o'clock and...
It does. Yeah, generally, we would not double book anything on the same day, because people want to get in and they're renting it for the whole day, typically. But I'll follow up with Debbie, and maybe we have to, approve maybe January, February, March. There's a meeting on the 19th of January, 16th of February, 2 in March, and then maybe April, May, when it's higher rental. But I'll get with Debbie and we'll figure it out.
Well, to be fair to this group, we should at least approve the January date, as long as there's no conflict, and then
So January's good now, and then
we'll
we'll
get
get back
more
to you.
information about the future dates.
What are the dates again? Can you say them? one more time?
January 19th, February 6th, they're all Sundays, first of all. January 19th, February 16th, March 2nd, March 16th, April 13th, April 27th, and May 11th.
Oh, wow.
But we're not having another meeting before the January 16th date, so we should probably approve that one this time. So that's, I move that we approve the January 16th date,
January 19th.
or not, January 19th, I'm sorry, January 19th date, and request further information through the township administrator to resolve the future dates.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, the fire department, Chief Stewart sent out his stats for last month. You should have that in your file, in your folders. I know they continue to be pretty steady and busy. Road department, Vince.
We're getting back to the fire department.
Yes.
Actually he noted that the tornado sirens will be installed in February and March
Yes.
after the county control point is installed. What's the county control point? Do you know what that's about?
I believe that would be the mechanism to set them off.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that all you had there?
Yeah, the rest of the stuff.
Then- Yeah, then, like you were saying, Jerome Mill Creek will be installed around the same time, and that the generators for Station 210's been ordered. We expect delivery in January, February. I just wanted to comment, the number of training hours for 2024, the 7,500 hours, that seems impressive. It's nice to have that included on this.
And I know, I would also like to note that I think this is the first year where we've done some of these inspections and validations, the first full year.
I was a little startled that every time these get an inspection, there may be like 3 or 4 violations. Hopefully, as time goes on, there'll be an inspection without a violation.
Right. So this indicates that we're providing an excellent service and improving the safety for our township by having these inspections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate the work that they're doing.
Yeah, I think Lieutenant Flora and his assistant there, firefighter Stricker, I think they do amazing work going in and out and of different developments and commercial and all that to do this. It's not easy work. It's very demanding work. So.
Another item under fire department, do we want to discuss a special meeting regarding the fire levy? Suggested to have
I
that.
think you put out there.
Yeah, I just sent that out today, so I didn't know if you guys wanted to discuss that now. We can.
That would be prior to our next trustee meeting, so we should discuss it at this point.
Yeah.
What was proposed was a 6 o'clock meeting prior to our regular 7 p.m. meeting.
So 2 weeks from now, we'd meet at 6 instead of 7.
Correct.
And
He
have,
anticipates under 45 minutes.
Robert, would that give you enough time to get prepared with the numbers so we could talk a little bit intelligently about what might be needed, like,
Sure.
okay.
And are you able to make a 6 o'clock time, Robert,
Yes, I can do that.
on that today?
Leslie, would 6 o'clock, did you make that work?
I
Or
think
you wanna-
so. I have a number of work commitments that week that are unusual for me, and so I'm a little worried, but I think we should move forward.
If you could, okay. And then if by chance you're not able to make it, we're not probably making any decisions, we just wanted to have a discussion.
Right, I think
And if
who put the timetable when we have to do, was it Payne sent a memo also right today indicating, Robert, you can correct me on this, but for the May ballot, we'd have to have some decisions made in February?
This levy is not eligible for the May ballot.
It's only eligible for the fall. Okay, so we do have time if we need to delay the meeting, but we have to make a request from the auditor's office to get the numbers in, and that in the past has delayed things. Because the auditor has to.
Yeah, it's a two-step process. First, you have to do a resolution of necessity to get estimates from the county auditor, and then you do a resolution to proceed. So,
Yeah. So,
It's either
I
this
move-
meeting or the second meeting in February, because I know
Yeah.
you won't be here, and I don't think Chief Stewart can make it the first meeting in February either.
okay. So we'd like to have it 2 weeks from now at 6 o'clock to get things rolling, and then later on we could schedule more. Do we want to go ahead and wait maybe till the second meeting in February?
We could decide that on the meeting in 2 weeks in January if we need a follow-up meeting in
Okay,
February.
okay. So I move that the Board of Trustees hold a special meeting for discussion of the upcoming fire levy at 6 PM here at the Township Hall on
22nd.
22nd, January 22nd.
21st, excuse me.
January 21st, yeah. The Morrissey meeting is the 22nd. January 21st, 6 PM here at the Township Hall to discuss the upcoming fire levy.
Second?
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes.
Last thing I have, Mr. Chair, is also under the road department. Not only have they been slammed the last 48 hours and put in, I don't even know how many hours they've been here. They came in the first night at midnight, and they were here all day. And then last night, they came in at, I believe also at midnight. I can't recall, and they did not leave here until roughly 4:30, 5 o'clock. So,
I almost feel like we need to post that
yeah.
so that our residents know, because sometimes I feel like they don't realize.
Yeah.
Um,
It is a tireless
It
job.
is a tireless job.
And when the wind was blowing like it was, they couldn't keep up. That was the problem.
That's the truth.
So they're coming back, they went home, getting some rest, and of course, you know, it's not safe if they're exhausted anyway. So Vince does a good job getting them breaks when they need it. So they're going to come back in at 5 because they expect some re-icing overnight with the cold. So they went around, cleaned up the roads the best they could today. I think the roads look great compared to what it was. They had their work cut out for them. So that's the update for those guys, plus the report. And then I wanted to touch just briefly. I asked Debbie to print out, you should have this chart in your folder for the cemetery statistics for the last few years. The reason this is important is that I brought this up to you maybe once or twice in 24. But we really think we need to focus on 25, that we're going to propose that we build a columbarium in Jerome Cemetery because the ladies in the office are getting requests for it. We don't have anything like that. And if one was built, we believe, we're pretty confident we would sell those off. And most cemeteries in the area already have these. If you're not familiar, it's when someone is cremated and then they can put the urn in a very nice place in the cemetery. It's above ground and it can hold multiple storage compartments, and then people can, you know, we can set the rules for what goes on the fronts of those. Typically it's their name and dates and so on. But you know, Michelle had put a lot of work into this, and we believe that since 24, if you look there, we sold more than we ever have for the spaces. And we just think that this would be a space saver over the course of time and really preserve the cemetery land that we have. And if we move forward on something like that as well, I think it fits well with the timing of starting this plan, this overall cemetery plan with Morpsey. I think it fits into that. And I think, you know, all I'm saying is that I'll get Michelle, she was off today, but I'm going to come back to you probably with some more information on, you know, just a thought of how to do this. We have some spaces picked out in the cemetery already where it would look good, just to try one, and then go from there. And if it goes over well with our community, which we believe it will, they lost count of how many times somebody asked this year, or I'm sorry, in '24. So just wanted to bring that to your
Would there
attention.
be potential grants to erect this structure? Because would it have to be a sheltered area also, I would expect? So there might be
Sheltered as far
a
as.
roof over it.
Yeah, they're built solid. It's solid. Most are granite. And then, there's a mechanism to secure each compartment as they are filled, of course. So no one can just open them up at will. It's done very professionally.
Mr. Adler, what you might be asking is typically a columbarium is accessible from the outside, a mausoleum typically has an inside. So just so folks understand,
But is there a roof also over the columbarium?
typically that they would
Shield.
look, it would look like an architectural feature
Right.
from the back, and then one side would be accessible and then would be sealed. That's a columbarium. There's not always a roof structure. If there's a roof structure, you're going in a door that's usually turned a mausoleum. I'm sure we could find examples that don't follow that, but that's what.
Yeah, I just urge you to look them up. You get pictures in your mind. They come in different shapes, sizes, materials. You can go as expensive and elaborate as you want, or, in this case, if we're going to do it, we would all want it to look nice and appropriate, of course, but.
I'd like to see more research done on
Yeah,
part of Michelle.
yeah, Michelle's done a lot of work.
Proposed to let us redo it.
We'll get it back in front of you soon.
Yeah, we don't match.
And that ends my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to also mention, looked like the EMS runs on the stats for the fire sheet were up 27% over the previous year, 23. It just jumped out at me. We got talking about the levy meeting. Right. Okay, zoning department update, comprehensive plan update.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Our office sent out the statistics for 2024. Upon review of that, it appears to be our biggest year ever, just in terms of numbers in the zoning department. A little bit different, a lot of different types of projects, not just single family. Single family wasn't quite the highest specifically, but I think that's a testament to how much work is getting done with three folks. I've shown those statistics to some of my colleagues at other places, and they usually pass out. So that's a testament to our team, being focused on customer service and efficiency in what we do. With regard to the comprehensive plan, on Monday, the zoning commission is going to be having their continued hearing. They're going to be receiving some great comments from LUC. They're going to be receiving a plan of revisions from MKSK Studios. And so once that meeting happens, I should be able to report back whether it's been continued again to wait on those revisions or more revisions are being discussed. But again, this is all typical to the process, and I remain extremely excited, as does Brandon, with regard to the plan. So the period for public comment, the survey is now closed, but the public comment can continue to be given to our township zoning commission. So the community comment is not going to end up until the moment that, ultimately it comes before this board.
Well, even when it comes before this board, it would be open to public comment.
Absolutely, absolutely. I should have said action, final action by the board, comma, if any. I have nothing else to report. Share questions.
All right, thank you, Eric.
I do have one
Oh,
question.
go ahead.
Is there any expectation that the fees that we've approved would need to be amended, since this has gone on a little longer than we expected?
With regard to the contract with MKSK, the answer to that question is, I believe so. I will follow up with MKSK has stated that they're going to draft additional services, and they just haven't, a services agreement, they just haven't done that yet. I'll let you know after Monday. I think that we'll have a better idea of where we're at. But again, it's all very typical. It's a heavy lift, and we love doing it, but there's a lot of people involved, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of revisions, many of them good, but every time there's a revision, there's a cost associated with that revision, frankly. So I'm trying not to be the gatekeeper on that. I'm just trying to move the project forward. But yes, we may be coming soon, but I don't have anything to present to you right now.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to old business.
Mr. Kraft, I could jump in here regarding item 11A. That may be a little bit of a typo. This is the hearing on the proposed JED amendment, not the
Okay,
resolution.
we need to set a date.
So
Okay.
you set a date, and that date is tonight.
Okay.
You set a date on the Memorial Health. There should be in your packet, sir, there should be a motion, no, that's the motion setting the public hearing. There should be a document that says, format or outline of hearing. Do you have that document? That's been drafted by legal counsel.
Barry, do you have it in your packet?
I've got the JED hearing, but I don't have
That should be it. Does it say, like outline of hearing?
a, this is a motion to open the public hearing.
That's it, yeah.
There's Joe.
All right. So I'd like to move that we open a public hearing concerning the amendments to the Joint Economic Development District and contract for Memorial Health Jerome Village.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes.
Now, do we need to ask for public comments at this point, right?
You can, how about just for the sake of time, I'll just give you the superlatives of the amendment fairly quickly. This is a proposed project for a medical office located at the terminal end of the new Sycamore Drive. Basically, it's on the east side of Industrial Parkway, just immediately south of the Kroger shopping center. It's a 4.24 acre site. Current property is owned is Jerome Village Company and Memorial Health Ohio Properties. 2 is the proposed buyer from Jerome Village. The project has received a detailed development plan approval from the zoning commission and is moving forward to construction, so they need to amend to be within the JED. Yes, then, so unless there's any questions about any of that, then yes, the thing to just be note for the record that there's no public comment to be had.
I'd like to note for the record there's no public comment to be had. I move that we close the public hearing concerning the amendments to the Joint Economic Development District and contract for Memorial Health Jerome Village.
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Inside your packet, so I think you got an email there.
Based on this email, then I'd like to move that we accept the resignation of Michael Nolan.
Second.
Mr. Adler?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. I don't have any new business.
I just saw in my packet, there are a couple dates designated that we have to make changes at our trustee meeting. I didn't notice that when we approved it. So if we'd like to discuss the alternate dates, it looks like May 6th, there's a special, primary special election, possibly. Do we want to look at an alternate date, or do we want to wait till a special election is determined?
Well, in the motion, did you say it would be the following day? Like if an election fell or a holiday, it would be the following day?
That's typically what we've done
Then
in
we
the
would
past.
make sure we posted that on our website ahead of time. So I think we'll be over.
We're covered then on those dates. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah, is there any other new business to be discussed? Right, I'd like to go through the announcements here. Jerome Township offices will be closed Monday, January 20th, 2025 for Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And we'll reopen Tuesday, January 21st at 8 a.m. If you'd like to receive notifications regarding the Board of Trustee meetings, please email the Township office at jerometownship@jerometownship.com. This website for the project to update the township's comprehensive plan is live at www.jerometownshipcomprehensiveplan.com. The township's always accepting applications for positions for our zoning board. Please visit the Jerome Township website to fill out an application.
Before we adjourn, can I go back to the rental hall real quick? I'm so
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
I am so sorry. You know,
Did
the
you
more
find
I,
the sheet with the dates?
well, the more I sit here and think about it, and I'm thinking about these kids with 4-H, you know, that's a lot of work for someone to coordinate with children. In my opinion, you know, the purpose of this, especially when it comes to children, bringing the community together. These are kids. They're trying to coordinate with parents about where to be for these following dates. So, you know, I can only imagine that if I'm this 4-H leader, I get an email, yes, you're approved for January, but then this leader has got to figure out, okay, what am I telling these parents for the rest of these dates? People are trying to plan. I mean, isn't it what this is all about? You know, when it comes to the children, I just say, let the children have the building. Yeah? I mean, really at the end of the day, what's it really cost us, right? So,
Well, my concern was just to verify that in the past we've given these many dates. I don't want to set a precedent because we haven't done in the past.
I actually feel really guilty about us not approving us letting those softball girls use the building that one time. And I just, you know, that ate me alive later. I was like, what are we thinking? That's totally wrong, in my opinion. Let the children have it. It's a great thing. You know, we fight so hard to keep this rule setting, but yet we don't want the 4-H kids to have the building for free. No, my vote is with the 4-H kids. Let the kids have the building. I don't know.
As far as the rental hall reservation, we changed it. It used to be like January 2nd. The phones would be going crazy, people reserving for the dates. And now is it a rolling year? Do we know how that? So like,
Yeah, it's all changed and the fees have gone up.
so like this May, you'd have to reserve it for next May if you knew you had like a child's graduation.
Correct.
I mean, and in here too, it says this, so what are we not gonna approve May when they're the kids that put out the flags for, you know, for the veterans' graves on Memorial Day, you know?
I agree to approving this. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that the dates are in alignment with what we've already got scheduled. And there may be an opportunity to readjust these dates with the 4-H groups too, if there's a conflict.
I mean, it would be first come, first served, so if they've reserved already, then the dates may not be
Yeah,
available.
Debbie's already
But
checked
Debbie
the calendar. That's
wouldn't
why she
have
gave us
put it
this.
down.
Yeah, she would have told us.
Maybe
if
they were
already
booked together.
So,
I say give the kids the dates. I mean, that's.
Well, who knows, that May date, maybe they're assembling to get the flags ready.
Exactly, yeah.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, I know what it's like to be in charge, not necessarily of kids, but, you know, organizing and planning and deciding, you know, I kind of say that I'd go along with what Brandon and Debbie's recommendation was. I mean, you said that you recommended it in the letter there.
Yeah. I'd like to let them have it. I mean, even if it's more dates than last year, these are children, you know, they could be playing video games or causing problems in a community, and they're doing a really great thing instead. And their parents are dedicated to driving them to do something that's really worthwhile and community-centered. I mean, I don't know. Give the 4-H group the dates. Do I have a motion?
Do we have a, did we already make a,
Do we have to vote on this?
I think they approved January 19.
Can we make a motion to approve the rest of the dates?
What you could do, Mrs. Davis, other members of the board, just say this: I move to rescind the previous motion and to approve the dates for the rental to the 4-H group as presented.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I think we can all be together on this. Second?
Mr. Adler?
I'd like to abstain because I wanted more information.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraft?
Yes. Any more business? Do we have any more business?